Hello, my name is Alex Isles and welcome to Newcastle's castle. Directly in front of me would have been a location in the past where there was a gatehouse. So Newcastle's castle, originally the gatehouse would have been in this location in front of me, and there would have been the gate with the portcullis and the medieval defences that you can probably clearly see in your mind when I describe a medieval castle's gatehouse. Later on, behind me, the Black Gate, the more famous gatehouse, was added, meaning that Newcastle's castle had a double gatehouse, quite a strong defence for any castle itself, and so it was a very strong fortress up here in the northeast of England. But the reason why I've come here today is to show off the Heron Pit. And the Heron Pit is one of the first prisons in Newcastle. So right here, this is the Heron Pit. Now, I'll give you a second to have a think, or maybe even write in the comments some of the things that a modern prison has that the Heron prison doesn't have. Now, I've given you enough time to maybe write down some things or say it out loud, but the first thing I'm going to say is it doesn't have any doors. The Heron Pit would originally have wooden floors across the top and then a trapdoor in the middle. And when you were arrested by the Sheriff of Northumberland, you'd be dropped down there and left down there if you weren't a high enough status individual until your friends and family could raise the money to get you out, or you're being taken to court. It's estimated that up to 40 people could be left down in the Heron Pit at any one time, so it's pretty cramped, and you would have food and water lowered down, but you'd be competing with the other prisoners down in this site, and it would be a pretty horrendous place to be kept. On top of this, it would be dark, it would be cold, and you can just imagine the effect that would have on your mental health. Above it, there was actually a guard room and a space for additional prisoners, but alongside that as well, probably a kitchen. So you could hear people cooking, talking, walking around on the floorboards above your head, but it wasn't coming down to you. That would have probably had another added psychological effect to you, making your imprisonment even worse. One particularly nasty character from the castle's history is William Heron, and he was a sheriff of Northumberland who would go around forcibly accusing people and imprisoning them here in Heron Pit, which took his name because he imprisoned so many people in it. And when they were imprisoned inside the Heron Pit, they were then left down there until he could get the money out of their friends and family. He was so hated that medieval chroniclers actually wrote that his soul was dragged to hell by demons, and that was one of the worst things you could possibly write about someone in the Middle Ages. So you can really get a sense about how hated he was and how much of a bad, evil sheriff and a nasty character he was around here in the northeast of England. So I hope you've enjoyed this story, and maybe you can reflect on how today, even though we still have modern day crime, thankfully, we're a lot more humane as a society, and so we deal with crime in a much different manner to how we did in the Middle Ages. And I love showing this off when I do tours, because so you can show a comparison between this dark, cold, wet pit in the ground and the fact that we are a modern, liberal democracy where we actually treat people with kindness and respect no matter what they've done, and then we can actually do crime and punishment in the right way rather than in a very brutal and horrible way as it was done in the past. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in another one in the future. Until then, stay safe and well, and I look forward to speaking to you again.